The cargo bay of the Varenthos hummed with the usual rhythm of a deep space freighter. Hydraulics hissing, metal clanging, and the occasional curse in half a dozen languages. Rhea adjusted the straps of her harness, feeling the familiar weight shift against her spine. 50 kilograms of fur, claws, and stubborn refusal pressed into her back. "Vec, you're getting heavy," she muttered, reaching back to scratch behind one of his tufted ears. A rumbling purr vibrated through her suit. The Zenthari cub had been with her for 3 standard months now, ever since his pod family perished in a reactor breach on outpost KL-7. The authorities tried to relocate him to a proper Zenthari colony, but Vec had other ideas. He'd bitten through 2 kennels, escaped 3 transport shuttles, and somehow tracked Rhea across 2 systems before she gave up and just kept him. Now he rode on her back during every shift, massive paws draped over her shoulders, his predator's eyes watching everything with unblinking intensity. Captain Thrain, a grizzled Korthan with scales like burnished copper, stood at the cargo manifest terminal. His eyes flicked to Rhea, then to the cub, then deliberately back to his datapad. "Maintenance report on Base 7, he growled. "Pressure seals are failing. Need it fixed before we hit the jump point in 6 hours. On it, Captain." Rhea grabbed her toolkit, feeling Vec adjust his grip. His claws pricked through her suit, not enough to puncture, just enough to remind her he was there. The thing about humans that confused the rest of the galaxy was their capacity for compartmentalization. Any other species would have demanded the cub be removed. Zenthari were apex predators after all, 2 meters of muscle and fang even as juveniles, with a bite force that could crush Durasteel. Their adult forms had toppled governments and cleared colony worlds, but Rhea was human, and humans had a peculiar talent for looking at a creature designed by evolution to kill them and thinking, "That's basically a weird dog." She climbed the service ladder to Base 7, Vec's weight making each rung a test of grip strength. The cub's hot breath puffed against her neck. When she reached the catwalk, her Vrexian co-worker Salix skittered backward on 6 legs, mandibles clicking nervously. "Rhea, the creature, Vec's fine. He's just watching." She pulled out her plasma welder, checking the charge. "Can you hand me the sealant cartridges?" Salix hesitated, compound eyes fixed on Vec. The cub yawned, displaying rows of serrated teeth. To his credit, Salix grabbed the cartridges with a trembling manipulator limb and set them within Rhea's reach, though he maintained a careful 3-meter distance. Rhea worked methodically, running a bead of sealant along the compromised joint. Behind her, Vec chirped, a sound that shouldn't come from something with his dental arrangement, and nuzzled against her helmet. She could feel the pressure of his massive head even through the reinforced polymer. "You're going to break my neck one of these days, buddy," she said affectionately. The intercom crackled. "Engineering crew to bridge. We've got a situation." Captain Thrain's voice cut through the general channel, terse and controlled. "Pirate vessel decloaking off our starboard bow. All hands to defensive positions. Rhea, secure the cargo bay and report to your station." Rhea's heart rate spiked, but her hands remained steady. She finished the seal, tested the pressure reading, and descended the ladder in half the time it took to climb up. Vec's claws dug in harder, sensing her tension. The cargo bay erupted into controlled chaos. Crew members rushed to secure loose containers and arm themselves with whatever weapons the freighter's limited armory could provide. The Varenthos wasn't a military vessel. They had exactly 2 plasma rifles and an aging point defense cannon. Through the viewport, Rhea could see the sleek silhouette of the pirate ship, bristling with weapons that could tear through their hull like paper. Her mind raced through options, none of them good. Then the pirates hailed them. The viewscreen flickered to life, showing a Korthax captain with ritual scars and predatory eyes. "Surrender your cargo and we'll let you keep your lives. Resist and—" He stopped mid-sentence. His gaze had locked onto something behind Captain Thrain. Rhea had walked onto the bridge, Vec still riding her back. The cub had grown alert, his ears pinned back, his lips curled to reveal every one of his nightmare teeth. A low growl emanated from his chest, a sound that bypassed conscious thought and spoke directly to the primordial fear centers of every species that had ever known what it meant to be prey. The pirate captain's expression shifted. Confusion, then recognition, then something that might have been fear. That's a Zenthari juvenile." "Yeah," Rhea said, her voice level. "And he gets cranky when people threaten his pod." It was a bluff. Vec was barely past his infant stage, hardly capable of the destruction his species was infamous for, but the pirates didn't know that. What they knew was that Zenthari were fiercely protective of their chosen families, that they never forgot, and that crossing one meant facing the wrath of an entire clan network that spanned dozens of systems. And this human, this impossible, insane human had somehow bonded with one. The pirate captain's mandibles twitched. His crew murmured in the background, their body language screaming retreat. "Oi, but we were mistaken. This vessel is not worth our time." The screen went dark, the pirate ship's engines flared, and it accelerated away, abandoning its predatory position. The bridge remained silent for a long moment. Then Chief Engineer Morath, a taciturn Dolgath who rarely spoke, let out a bark of laughter. "Did we just get saved by a baby?" Captain Thrain turned to Rhea, his expression carefully neutral. "Maintenance report on Bay 7? Seals are fixed, Captain. We're good for the jump." "Good. Get it logged." His eyes flicked to Vec, who had relaxed his aggressive posture and returned to nuzzling Rhea's helmet. "And for the record, there's nothing in the crew manifest about unauthorized passengers." Rhea smiled. "Understood, sir." As she left the bridge, she could hear the crew behind her finally releasing held breaths and breaking into relieved chatter. Nobody mentioned the cub. Nobody questioned the human walking around with 50 kilograms of apex predator strapped to her back. They just pretended not to see. Because that was the thing about working with humans. They had a gift for making the impossible seem routine, for turning nature's most dangerous creations into family, and for somehow making it work through sheer stubborn affection. Rhea returned to the cargo bay, scratching Vec's chin. "Come on, buddy. We've got 3 more pressure seals to check before jump," the cub purred, content with his place in the universe, riding on the back of a human who refused to see him as anything other than someone who needed her. And the crew of the Varenthos continued their work, pretending not to notice the predator in their midst.